With one contender set to meet in the college football playoff national championship on Monday, January 20th, the next opponent would be playing in Dallas at the Goodyear Cotton Bowl Classic. As we see two teams with different paths. One team was a runner-up in its conference championship game. The opposing team was on the brink of looking for another head coach. Both teams have had complete, full rides throughout the college football playoff, meaning they've played 2 games thus far. This would be the third. Which team would prevail and play a fourth? Stay tuned to find out who and how the winner would play for a national championship on Gridiron Gab Triple Option. Welcome back, Gabbers. Thank you so much for joining us on another edition of Gridiron Gab Triple Option. Of course, you're gabbing with the one and only Mr. CeeLo. And I just want to tell you guys, thank you so much for joining us. Hope you all are doing well. Want to basically give a gab out to all of those that are being affected by those horrible, disastrous fires out in Los Angeles. And I hope you guys are safe. And for those that have had to deal with this tragedy, my deepest and most heartfelt prayers go out to you. We will be thinking about you in the course of everything that's going on. We pray that you guys have strength in this horrible situation. And we thank all of those firefighters that have been out there helping out. We thank all of those that have donated. And if you guys want to let us know any of the individuals that are lending a helping hand, please do so. We'll give them a gab out on the show. But thank you guys so much for joining us as we look ahead, and we will be getting ready for a huge matchup to come. But first, we got to take care of a little business, shouldn't we? Shall we? Of course, I've already read all of Brad's comments. He's always my man doing his thing. And guys, the rest of you, please make sure you comment. Let us know how you think, how you feeling, what you thinking. But let us get into the Cotton Bowl Classic, as it was the 8th-ranked Ohio State Buckeyes and the highest-ranked non-conference champion, Texas Longhorns, facing off against one another in this Goodyear Cotton Bowl Classic in Dallas, Texas. And I'm going to be honest with you, this game never seemed like it was home field advantage for Texas. It seemed like Buckeye Nation just turned out and they did their thing. And the truth of the matter is Ryan Day now has 2 trophies. And more than likely going to retain his position as the Don of Ohio State. But let us get into Ohio State's 28-14 victory over the Texas Longhorns. Now, Sark and the Longhorns are going to have to accept the fact that this was a game that they let slip away. And I know a lot of people are going to say, oh, you hating. No, I'm not. I'm really not. It seemed like Ohio State was dominating this game in a lot of facets. And this is why I say Texas let this game slip. Because this game was, when you watch the game, you kept feeling like Ohio State should be up more. And you kept looking at this game and you kept saying, how is Texas still in this game? I mean, there were several times I looked at this game and I was wondering to myself, how in the world have the Ohio State Buckeyes not put the foot on these guys' throats? And if you guys know, I initially called for Texas pulling the upset.
What a dumbass!
And the truth of the matter is, I was not far off. I mean, let's take a look at these statistics, shall we? 20-18 in first downs. Texas had the advantage. Third down efficiency. Ohio State, 3 of 10. Texas, 5 of 15. Fourth downs. To me, this was a huge tail of the tape. Texas, 1 for 3. Ohio State, 1 for 1. Total yardage. Ohio State, 370. Texas, 341. Passing. Ohio State, 289. Texas, 283. Completions per attempts. Will Howard was more efficient at 24 of 33 than Ewers is 23 of 39. Both quarterbacks threw a pick. Rushing yards. Ohio State only outran Texas by 23 yards. And then, like I said, you had a Texas turnover that was a fumble, which turned into 6 points. And then you look at Ohio State with the 31 minutes to 28 minutes of possession over Texas. And then there was a thing that somebody said about the penalties they need to clean up. I agree with that. But then I back up and I say to myself, well, let's look deep into this. Because there were so many plays that Texas left on the field. And I honestly thought if Sark was calling this game, this was not a well-called game by Sark. I will say this. The Wisner throw down the field was just the Jaden Blue pass down the field was just absolutely my alley. When you look at a defense that's as good as Ohio State's, Texas's, Penn State's, and Notre Dame's, even Notre Dame got burned on a wheel route. When you play these type of defenses that are really predicated on man coverage, and when you see it coming, the most efficient way you can do it is get you enough blocking and sneak that back out of the backfield. Boom. To me, everybody worries about calling screens. I think the ultimate way you alleviate that is call that kind of wheel route. It's because most teams, when they see that the running back is running out of the backfield or everybody's pulling away, they're thinking screen. Sneak that running back down the field. Because guess what? 9 times out of 10, it's going to be 6, 7 guys that are coming unblocked. All that ball has to be is up over the line of scrimmage. Simple. And I know what a lot of people are going to say, oh, you make it sound so easy. But you look at how many guys caught the football for Texas. I can't blame Sark in a large capacity, but in a minute capacity because it took them too long. And I agree with what Courtney Cronin said on Around the Horn. She made a statement that why did Texas take the ball from the 1-yard line and decide they're going to run a toss play? And then one thing I've always said, guys, she echoed it, and I don't understand why a lot of people don't want to echo it. Maybe they're scared of getting chastised or criticized for it. But me personally, why in the world, then it's just me, why in the world would you continuously take the ball out of the shotgun? I do not understand that. You take the ball out of the shotgun when you're right there on the 1-yard line. You're essentially adding 7 to 8 yards that you got to make up. You're giving the defense a 7 to 8 yard head start. I'm just saying that is not acceptable. That is not acceptable. You have to be able to turn those into points. That's just unacceptable at this point. I mean, the truth of the matter is Quinn Ewers had played a clean game all the way up until the near end of this game. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say that Quinn Ewers was the issue in all of this, but Ewers' problem is he hangs on to the football. And he's really slow with his progressions. I think that's going to be a huge issue if he's going to try to go to the next level. That, to me, that's what I saw. And that takes nothing away from Ohio State. Texas's defense was as good as advertised. I mean, this was a football team that said, hey, this is what we're going to do. This is what we're going to do. We're going to smash you a little bit, and we're going to give you because I'm going to tell you, they tried to take their shots. I mean, you look at it, the longest completion they had was Carnell Tate's 18-yarder. And everybody's going to talk about Trey. To me, the backbreaker in this game was when TreVeyon Henderson caught that ball right before half and took that thing in for 6, because it was a 7-7 game. You ultimately thought, myself and the individuals I watched it with, my son, we thought Texas was going to get control of this game. And had this, I'm going to put it to you like this, had this game not gone that way, had TreVeyon Henderson whether he stopped, if he stopped before halftime, I truly believe Texas wins this game. Because here's the reality. Texas comes out in the second half and they score first. Because I knew as soon as TreVeyon Henderson catches this football and goes in for 6, I'm sitting here thinking this game's over. This game is over. But with the resilience of a Longhorn, they kept coming. I mean, you look at this game and you say, hey, we're not going to play this. We're going to go in and we're going to come out and get an interception. And we're going to come out here and we're going to do our thing. We're going to get a touchdown. And they did. They came out and they had a 12-play, 67-yard drive that lasted just over 5 minutes. And the truth of the matter is the Texas Longhorns had a plan coming in. They had an idea what they wanted to do. They went out there, they executed. And the fact remains is that, in my opinion, Sark had a 14-point swing that did not go his way. To me, there are ways to get the ball in the end zone. The one way you don't try to do it is a toss play. I don't agree with a toss play. I'm not saying that you can't run it. What I am saying is you've got to have the defense inside the box to run that play. And they're geared towards you're going to the middle of the field. This is where you have to bring Arch Manning in. I know Longhorn fans, woulda, coulda, shoulda. I kept looking at my son and I kept saying, where's Arch at? Where's Arch? I mean, we saw Will Howard use his legs some. We saw a little bit of Drew Aller using his legs in that game. And, of course, we're going to see Riley Leonard using his legs. That's without speaking. But he used his arm. We were waiting to see Quinn Ewers. I know I was. I remember talking to a friend of the show who happens to be my brother. I said, dude, I wonder if Aller's going to use... I wonder if he's going to use his legs. Him being Quinn Ewers. And I don't understand why we have so many people that don't understand. Unless you're an elite guy with excellent pocket presence, you got to have some ability. You have to have some type of mobility and escapability as a quarterback. I don't care if you run the ball or not, but you better have escapability. You better have the ability to know where your hot route is and where you're going with the football at all times, no matter what the situation is. Again, you look at the lost fumble by Quinn Ewers was massive. I mean, it was catastrophic. You're getting ready to go in with time running down. Texas is basically running the clock down to tie it up, possibly. I remember looking over at my son, and I said, they're going to go for 2. I honestly believe that's what Texas was going to do. They're going to run the clock out, try to get in, and possibly go for 2. That's what I thought they were going to do. And unfortunately for them, Ewers loses the ball. He doesn't look at the front side, which I've always said, quarterbacks, you're responsible for the front side. You're not responsible if you get hit from the blind side. You're responsible if you get hit from the front side. And Ewers had several times, he did it in the Georgia game twice, holding on to the football. You got to have that clock in your head. You got to. But Will Howard surprisingly had a pretty darn good game. 24 of 33, 289 yards, had an interception, and had a touchdown pass. TreVeyon Henderson and Keyshawn Judkins each had 42 and 36 respectively, but Judkins had 2 touchdown runs. What was impressive is look at the final tally. 81 rush yards for Ohio State to 58. Now, of course, Quinn Ewers' sacks counted against that. But so they would have had 70 yards rushing despite that. Travion Wisner had 17 carries for 46 yards. But surprisingly, Jaden Blue had 4 carries, 16 yards. The thing you got to love about this game here. This was a full-fledged slobber knocker. And it was a game where quarterbacks had to do what they had to do in this game. Whereas when you look at what Quinn Ewers did, 23 of 39, 283, 2 touchdowns and a pick, you start looking away at things. You start trying to figure out, where did this game get away from him at, or where could this game have gone differently. I think ultimately the only thing you can say is I didn't like Texas' inability to be creative. I thought the 2 wheel routes were the most creative plays that you had that night. I think you needed to run more of your guys across the formation. Make Ohio State's defenders work. Make them have to play tight man coverage so that way you can get some guys in motion, get some free, so that you could get your running backs free to get on the edge. Because if they're occupied with your guys, trying to keep your guys off the back, they're not going to be watching the backfield. They're going to be trying to keep up with those guys running down the field, or not trying to get behind them, and that gives your wide receivers the edge, because they're initially trying to keep them away, so your wide receivers are able to take off this way. And I will tell you right now, if I got wide receivers that can get behind guys, guess what? I'm not paying attention to you. I'm going to keep running up the field, because guess what? If I'm running up the playing field, guess what? I could be running a pass. That's a way to take these guys out of the game, right? Just saying. And then when you get that stretch play stretched out, guess what? Boom. He can go block the safety. I'm just saying, you guys, I'm not big for wide receivers trying to block when they get engaged in a run play. I say you continuously keep them honest. Because if you decide you want to run that toss play and throw it down the field, guess what's going to happen? He's going to get so caught up in trying to block you, and you take off down the field, he's going to forget. And that leaves you one-on-one with a safety. All you got to do is throw it over the top of him. Guess what? Gotcha. But as I said, that big strip sack, scoop and score for a touchdown was a 14-point swing. You look at Texas was going in. Ohio State turns around, puts the game out of reach. And that drive ate up. And you guys won't believe me if I tell you, that drive ate up almost 5 minutes. Yeah. This was coming off the 13-play, 88-yard drive where Ohio State ate up almost 8 minutes of the clock and left the Texas Longhorns with 7 minutes, 2 seconds. And they had driven this thing all the way inside the goal line. And now you look at the golden interference penalty. That was huge. Now you look at it and you say, why would you commit pass interference? Now you look at it, and now, ultimately, guys like me say, now you know why. Jarrett Gibson, no gain on first and goal. And then Wisner had a loss of 7, like myself and Courtney Cronin questioned, why would you run a toss play like that? And then that leaves you in 3rd and goal at the 8. And, it's incompletion to Ryan Wingo. Then the Longhorns go for it with 2:13 left. Sawyer comes screaming around the outside and pretty much puts a wrap on this game. You couldn't ask it for it scripted any better if you're Ryan Day and you're a Buckeye fan. But looking at the game, I think we've got a great national championship game. Notre Dame's already favored to get blown out yet again, like they were supposed to get blown out by Penn State and Georgia. So we'll be looking forward to that, and I look forward to bringing my analysis of that game to you and the keys for victory for both teams. As I said, the Texas Longhorns had a great season. They're first in the Southeastern Conference. This ain't about talking trash about the SEC. It's the close of another season as we near the end, you guys. And Ryan Day and the Ohio State Buckeyes go to 13-2. They look to go in as they're in their 6th national championship game appearance, or their 6th shot, excuse me. But as I said, this is going to be a rivalry game that goes all the way back to Why Blue Yonder days. And Ohio State and Notre Dame are old foes, as you guys know. Ryan Day and Ohio State came into South Bend, and the infamous 10 men on the field touchdown. But it's going to be an exciting game. I can't wait to see it. It's going to be Ryan Day versus Marcus Freeman. 2 storied programs looking to get back to prominence. Ohio State is somewhat there. Notre Dame looking to cement itself there finally after several decades in obscurity from the national championship scene. Hopefully looking to garner its way back into it, as it will be Ohio State and Notre Dame for the national championship in Atlanta. That's going to do it for us, you guys. Make sure you guys hit me up in the comments. Let me know what you think about the show. Let me know what you thought about the Ohio State-Texas game. And if you want to, give me some early predictions on Ohio State at Notre Dame. That's the way it's going to be. You know, Notre Dame would be the visitor. Notre Dame would be the home team. Also, go to the Gridiron Gab Pro Style Facebook page and also the Facebook group. Join and add yourself as a friend to both. And you'll be caught up on so many of the other things that we will be doing in the off season leading up to the national championship. Don't forget to hit me up on Instagram at Mr. CeeLo. Check out my reels and check out my photos as I go into the off season, not necessarily taking the winter, spring, and summer off, but I will be into some certain shenanigans, and you can keep up with me as I am doing all those things. But that's going to do it till we before the national championship. If you want to check, until the next time, same Gab channel, same Gab platform.